This is the team that Steve Sims has put out tonight to try and get a little bit of pride back. Hodgson is the fullback, then it's Vian, McGuinness, Littler and Wilshire. Dawn skippers the side and Robinson is the scrum half. The forwards, Korkidas, Berthazen and Jewett, Coley and Brocklehurst in the second row. Finnegan is the loose forward. And the bench is occupied by Adamson, Gower, Nash and Turner. The coach, caretaker capacity, is Steve Sims. But is that the new man who will be in charge at the Willows in the not too distant future? Sean McRae arrived only last night from Australia. He has been talking to Steve Sims today, who is the director of rugby at the Willows, along with the club chairman, John Wilkinson. All will be revealed, no doubt, in the fullness of time. The Giants, they are unchanged from last week in their starting lineup. Thorman is the skipper. Aspinwall, Wild, Nero and Riley. Actually, they're not, because there's been a late change. Jamal Lolisi has gone down sick, and so he's been replaced in the centres by Chris Nero. Riley on the wing. It's Brown and Drew at half-back. And the forwards, Mason, Hudson and Scandalis. Jones, Raleigh and Steve Snitch is the man who comes in for a late call to replace Wild, who was named at loose forward. And the bench is occupied by Robbie Paul, Crabtree, who's just signed a new 3-year deal to stay at Huddersfield, Jackson and Griffin. And the coach of the month, John Sharp. Amazing that we say that John Sharp is the coach of the month. This Huddersfield Giants team were rock bottom after 7 weeks, 7 games played, not a single point to their name, but very, very close to victory on a number of occasions. The board at Huddersfield stayed with the faith, and John Sharp and this team have moved steadily up the table ever since. And tonight they are here hoping to repeat their Challenge Cup win at Salford of just 2 weeks ago, when John Sharp led his men to a 36 points to 10 victory. If they win, it'll be 8 in a row in Super League and the 10th victory in succession in all matches. Well, James Lowes is obviously the man who is delivering the final words of encouragement, the assistant to Carl Harrison. And he's trying to lift their spirits, as you can see, as they head out here for what is an absolutely crucial match for this club. The Salford City Reds know that the trapdoor of relegation is creaking underneath them, and out they come, led by the skipper Luke Dawn. The Salford vice-captain, of course, Malcolm Alker, the captain of the club, is out injured, and there is Sean McRae, who will be running over the Salford performance here tonight. Will he be tempted to take the plunge and take the job? It's the question everybody in the Super League is asking right now. Ben Thaler is the match referee. Glorious evening here in the city of Salford for this match, and Salford will attack as we watch from right to left in this first half. They will kick off via the boot of David Hodgson. They're in their traditional red and white, and of course it's the purple and blue, the change strip of Huddersfield Giants, that they will be opposing. Salford, the last team to beat the Giants, 18-16 at the Gal Farm Stadium on March the 25th. Huddersfield, as I say then, were bottom, 7 defeats from 7 games. Can Salford turn their season upside down tonight?
It's going to be very difficult for them, Eddie, but the adrenaline in the opening 10 minutes will certainly be pumping through the red side. And I'm sure that the Huddersfield coach, John Sharp, is experienced enough to know to say, look, let's absorb it, let's do nothing outlandish, nothing silly, just keep it very tight, and then we can go into our set patterns like they have done over the past 7 weeks.
Strong run from the kick-off by Keith Mason. He bowled Andrew Brocklehurst off his feet, but he managed to hang on to him. Huddersfield with first use of the football then here. That's John Scandalis. He gets to his feet. Now it's Andy Raleigh, and he tries to muscle his way to the 40-metre line on tackle number 3, but he's pushed back. Ryan Hudson, the dummy half. Here is Mason again, and that's a fairly decent tackle on him by Lee Jewett. But now it's with Brad Drew, and he puts the ball behind Stephen Wild. They've lost a little momentum here, Huddersfield. Wild was pursued by Robinson, but it's Jewett again, and Korkidas, who got down to him low on the last tackle, and Huddersfield still inside their own half. Wait for the kick here from Thorman. There it is, down centre field. The ball bouncing a little unkindly for Luke Dawn. Thorne eventually, though, picks it up, and he then is picked up by Kevin Brown.
Well, it was expected, wasn't it? Huddersfield doing nothing unusual, just making it one man out, just get good field position. Quite a good kick by Chris Thorman, could have got away from the corner.
John Wilshere now for the Salford City Reds, the Papua New Guinea international. Even though they're right down at the foot of the table, he's 8th on the Super League goal chart, John Wilshere, this year. Here's Michael Korkidas.
He needs a big game, does this fella, Michael Korkidas. He was one of the new signings in the off-season.
Gets the penalty for interference on him by John Skandalis.
Eddie, the closest the Reds have been to a win in the last month was when they played against Huddersfield here in the Challenge Cup. And although the final scoreline was 36 points to 10, Salford were very much in that game for 60 minutes. One or two decisions went against them and the game went, obviously, the scoreboard went ticking the wrong way. But they have got the confidence from that game. They did know that they did really challenge Huddersfield that night. And they have again a chance, but they have to start with the first points.
And Huddersfield on that occasion, it was their biggest post-war win on this ground at the end of the day. But Phil's right, Salford held on to their shirt tails for quite some time. Here is Korkidas again, the man, of course, who escaped relegation at Wakefield last year, now trying to do same again in 2007. Luke Robinson fires the pass to Wilshere. It's opened up for Wilshere, and Wilshere, he cannot get the ball down. That's wonderful defence from Huddersfield. Fantastic defence. And comes off the legs of Littler, and that's the Salford problem. They get so close to the line, but they cannot score the tries.
No advantage there for the Huddersfield defence. That's why he's bringing it back, but it looked as though it was in there. Wilshere.
Fantastic tackle from Stephen Wild, that.
Unbelievable. Just got the knee underneath at the last moment. It was a good little switch to the blind side. They forced it. But as you can see, no real advantage, so it's head and feet to the Giants.
Didn't really see a knock on then, but referee Mr. Thaler did. And he's the man who is in charge.
A big thing for Salford tonight, Eddie, is the marker defence. You've just seen that example. When Huddersfield won here, as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, they ran so well from the marker position and they made so many metres that eventually it hurt Salford and they were ripped apart in the middle. You'll see them, I'm sure, have a focus on the dummy half runners from Huddersfield. They have some of the best in the game.
Vertesen with a very important tackle.
Was it ever? That really was rock solid.
Here's Brad Drew. He's gone for a 40-20. An angled kick. Wilshere is after this. And Wilshere is the man who picks it up now. Looks to me like John Wilshere is actually playing as an orthodox fullback when Huddersfield have ball in hand, although Hodgson now has funneled back there to take his normal position. I don't know whether you have an opinion on that, Brian. Is Hodgson better on the wing or better at fullback?
I think he's better carrying the ball. He's pretty good at it, and they need to get him to carry the ball as much as possible in broken field and from this dummy half situation. I think what they've done with Wilshere, and I think Luke Thorne, you'll see, are getting into catching position so they can run the ball back in broken field.
It's Korkidas again for Salford City Reds, but solid Huddersfield defence again this side, midway inside the Salford half of the field. David Vertesen, the man filling in for the injured Malcolm Mulcahy. Oh, it was an awful bounce in front of Finnegan, and Finnegan saying it came up off his boot, but it didn't look like that, I must say. I think they were looking for Robinson in the first instance.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't a good pass from the ground from Vertesen. You've got to make sure you get the mark. It's all right getting the ball away quickly from that play the ball area, right from the play.
And the ball hit the ground, not properly controlled by Simon Finnegan. It came off his boot, but did hit the ground after a little fumble. So Drew, from the base of the scrum, gives it to Brown, and here now is Chris Nero. Luke Dawn gets to him.
Well, we know the type of skills that Huddersfield have done over the past 6-7 weeks is the fact that they just play very hard in the forwards, and once they get into the red attacking zone, that is when they start running the angles.
That's Ryan Hudson. This is Keith Mason. Now it's with Brad Drew. Brad Drew drags Stephen Wild into the play, offering tonight in the centres instead of Jamal Lalisi, who was taken ill on the bus on the way over here. It's Drew again who finds Mason, and this now Skandalis. And Salford muscling up in defence, as they know that they have to do against this Huddersfield Giants team. Here they come again, though, with Brown, and Brown finds space for Thorman. It goes wide to Nero, and Nero threatens over the line, and he is held up now. He is held up over the try line. That's great defence from Gray Lian, and there was McGuinness in there as well, and I think Coley might have been involved also. No, it's Luke Dawn.
Dawn there, McGuinness just stopping, and a good selection there from Ben Taylor, the official. Didn't have to go to the screen, he was on the spot.
Huddersfield on the last tackle. Oh, another dreadful bounce, and Hodgson did well to climb and pluck that out of the air. So both lines threatened early in this match here at the Willows. Here comes Andy Coley, the England international.
Well, the biggest problem, of course, over the past 3 weeks has been Salford's defence, but it's been okay. Looks pretty solid at the moment. They're all working as a unit. Over the past 3 games, they're going backwards rather than forward.
Korkidas drives it forward again on tackle number 4 for the Salford City Reds. There's David Berthazen, and here is Stuart Littler. And Littler gets to the 35-metre mark or thereabouts on tackle number 5. Berthazen, the kick from Robinson has to be good. And again, he's put the angle in, and he's looking for a 40-20 as well. Thorman allowed it to bounce, skipped away from him, didn't find touch. So here comes the Huddersfield captain, tackled by Coley, and helped out by Hodgson. And they could have been penalised there for a push on the deck on Chris Thorman.
Should have been penalised, Eddie, but it was a good kick, but I'm afraid the chase was very poor. There was only 2 Salford red shirts anywhere near that kick.
You think they need to get more excited, don't they? With a kick like that and a chance to pen their opponents down, the Huddersfield Giants are going to run simple plays, aren't they, to come out to there. It's a real chance for Salford to put them under some pressure.
That's Ryan Hudson, grounded by Berthazen. It's now with Brad Drew, and Berthazen couldn't touch him because he was offside. Drew has found a hole. Here is Ryan Hudson, and Ryan Hudson gets almost to the line, but Robinson and McGuinness muscling up to bring him down. Last tackle here, Stuart Jones is there. It's with Brad Drew, and Drew floats it to Brown. That was forward. That was a forward pass, and Nero touches down, but the pass is ruled correctly forward by Ben Taylor.
Good position, but tremendous work, wasn't it, from Brad Drew?
What did I tell you?
Little doubt in anybody's mind. You can see he had to lean forward. Not the best from Brown, but this was superb. He reads the game so well, and the support play by Ryan Hudson, the combination.
What?
And this is...
Oh.
There's his shoulder.
The shoulder of Steve Snitch and drifts forward.
But I think it was going forward anyway.
Well, it was, because Ben Taylor has ruled that now.
Yeah.
So the argument is academic. But Salford have been penalised here for an incorrect play the ball by Stuart Littler.
Oh, he's been around long enough to realise you can't do that. Well, I don't know.
He lost his balance slightly there, Eddie.
I don't think he did anything wrong, actually, on that replay, Phil. You're right.
I think maybe he's penalising for coming off the mark. He moved about 4 paces forward. He did actually say incorrect play the ball, the referee on the mic. I heard that. But the penalty has gone Huddersfield's way anyway, and Stuart Jones is in possession here, and this is a big test coming up now of the Salford defence. They've just repelled the borders once. Can they do it again here with Mason, who drives it up the middle? And he was brought down by Lee Jewett. And here is Hudson, and Hudson looking and probing, and again the ball was forward. And so that is ruled out as well. It will be brought back for a scrum down, head and feed to the Salford City Reds.
Well, Phil Clark mentioned it in the build-up. Huddersfield, when they get near the line, Phil, they seem to panic. They don't seem to have the right pass and the right option.
I think it's something they've been working on. There's probably a little bit of tension early on with that. The players are trying to find the right pass, and the whole runners are trying to get into the gaps, but early on they haven't found it, and it's obviously a part of their improvement plan for the rest of this season, because they do so many other things well. They look physically stronger than Salford. If you look at how many metres Salford make coming out of trouble here, it's far less than the ones Huddersfield have.
Well, 6 months after signing a new 3-year deal, Carl Harrison went on Tuesday. Quite ironic, really, because when they won in March against Huddersfield, it was Sharp who looked to be the coach who was under most pressure. But John Sharp weathered the storm, and as I say, he's coach of the month for April. Funny old game, isn't it? Good movement and great running from Luke Dawn. Good pass from Robinson. It's Robinson again on the last tackle, so that's why the kick is in. And Aspinwall is there to tidy up at the back for the Huddersfield Giants. And he gets as far as Finnegan and Coley. Now it is Stephen Wild. And will Stephen Wild become the first Huddersfield man in 36 years to be capped for Great Britain when Tony Smith announces his squad for the French test next month?
He's playing well enough.
A lot of people tipping him.
Yep. So am I.
Mason now for Huddersfield. Strong run forward.
Great basic rugby league football that the Giants utilise, don't they? They know how to get into that opposition half, and when you've got a man like this, look at that backspin on the ball, all sorts of problems.
Risky business from Hudson to Wilshere. Underneath his own post, he's trapped by Brown and Steve Snitch. Brown there again. To collar Hodgson. Here is Wilshere once more. Ball dipped in front of Robinson, did well to hang on to it. And it's Andy Coley. No way through for him. They're not making too much progress forward. Maybe they will here with Stuart Littler. It's Berthazen. Berthazen goes down the short side, then straightens up and has to be tackled by Andy Raleigh. That's the last tackle. They're on tackle number 5. And Luke Robinson flicked at it, got a hand on the ball eventually. And Paul Riley is the man who picks it up on that far side in the sunshine for the Huddersfield Giants.
Much better chase on that occasion. Again, not the best pass from the hooker Berthazen. He had the fumble with it, did Luke Robinson.
Chris Thorman, the Huddersfield skipper.
Eddie, Huddersfield are just winning the arm wrestle at the moment. You can see the metres that they're making every time they get a set of 6, and Salford are feeling the ball on their own line, which is making it difficult. A couple of contrasting styles. Salford are trying to shift the Huddersfield team around with wide passes. Huddersfield are a little bit more basic. They're going north to south football with short balls and trying to build the pressure and winning the arm wrestle at the moment.
And this is Thorman now for them, a little dummy, dropped the shoulder, but Finnegan and company there would not be fooled by that. It was Korkidas who got the tackle in, and Drew will hoist a high kick. Now Wilshere should not let this bounce, but Hodgson is there as well. He took it in goal, so he diffuses the bomb, and the play will be brought back to a tap on the 20-metre line, and here is David Hodgson. He took responsibility himself.
The longer the game goes on, Eddie, the greater Salford's confidence will grow here now. They've managed to get through the first 13 minutes. They haven't conceded a try. All of a sudden, the bad memories from last weekend in France have maybe washed away, and they're in this game with a chance.
They are. Is it sure just enthusiasm, Phil, that's keeping them in this? Is it just a little bit of adrenaline for Salford?
Well, the confidence will grow, particularly with sniping runs like that there by Robinson. They're getting into their opponent's half. Can they build any pressure here now? Perhaps want a bit more life in the chase of the legs here following this round.
It was a chip from Berthazen. He leads the chase to get hold of Aspinwall, and does. About 7 metres or so away from his own line. The ball on the bounce finds its way to Riley again.
That's good pressure as well by the Reds, but you saw even after the kick, they kicked it to the left-hand corner. The chase was good down on this left-hand side, but on the far side, the Reds just eased off. You've got to come in and do that umbrella if you've got to force more pressure on them.
Mason again, almost to the 40-metre line. Tackle number 4. Hudson's there. Now it's with Thorman. He goes for a 40-20 now. And Luke Dawn was content to allow that ball to run past him and find touch on the far side. Got over the 30 line, but didn't make it to the 20, fortunately for Dawn.
But that's quick thinking, isn't it, by the fullback Chris Thorman. Realised on the 4th that Salford had failed to drop their wingers back, and they nearly caught out Luke Dawn there. He was lucky that the bounce went one way and rather than the other.
Try in each of his last 3 games for Luke Dawn. 5 tries in his last 6. There's no Andrew Duneman this year for Salford, but maybe Luke Dawn brings something slightly different.
It is a bit of a problem that he's more of an individual player. Plays off with his own ability, his own skills, whereas Andrew Duneman, he was an organiser.
Good run from Littler. He's beaten 3 there. Uncharacteristic sloppiness in defence from Huddersfield. Korkidas. They're growing in confidence. Salford 66-0, and there's an injury here for Luke Dawn, which would be a blow. 66-6 beaten last week, the most lopsided scoreline of 2007 that we've seen so far. Berthazen to Coley, and Coley looks for Robinson. He's always busy. He finds Brocklehurst, and Brocklehurst gets the pass away to Hodgson forward.
Oh, that was 50-50, but he was in a good position with Ben Thaler, the official. It was try time. What a beautiful step from Brocklehurst. And I think you'll find on the replay, you couldn't bring it into momentum. I've seen them given, but it was just slightly forward.
That could very easily have been their second try of the match, couldn't it? Wilshere got over the line, couldn't get the ball down. Another good opportunity. It's whether they can build some intensity in the defence here. McGuinness gets off the line quickly. And look, they are starting to get excited now.
Yes, they are. It has to be said, of course, if you're just joining us at 16 minutes, Salford have been close to 2 tries, but Huddersfield have also been across the line twice. And those 2 efforts have been ruled out for forward passes, and that could have been a forward pass.
Drifted forward. Perhaps it went backwards to start with, which is okay. Well, has he been conned, the official? I get the feeling if the official hasn't, then Brocklehurst has. Spinning him around, Stuart Jones. Yeah, I think he probably didn't realise that one of his mates had just touched, joined into the defensive tackle.
Well, Brocklehurst is penalised as Ryan Hudson makes his way off the field with a nasty gash, and some more running repairs out there for Keith Mason. He's got a bang on top of the head by the looks of things. Brian Noble tipped it would be a tough encounter.
I think there's a few crowbars around somebody's sleeves out there. I thought that was a real tough call, I thought, there on Andy Brocklehurst. I thought, in essence, it was a one-on-one tackle. Whilst Burtis then just touches him on the shorts with his hand, I think the feeling and the way that he took the ball deserved for him to make the play there. But what he's done is put Salford back on their own line.
Mason and Hudson, the victim of a nasty clash of heads. Have a look at this. Oh, well, I don't know. Dear me.
Poor Kiedis is involved in that, and that's the reason why Mason is dripping a bit of claret.
Robbie Paul is on, and he finds Kevin Brown, and there's the pass to Steve Snitch, and Salford again muscling up in defence, but the ball smuggles its way outside, and there's a chance here, and is that Nero so close? Yes, it was, and he will play the ball again to Robbie Paul, who'll fling it back to Chris Thorman, who'll go straight for the posts. And Salford get to him once again. There's a lot of work still to be done, though, in this set of 6 by the Salford City Reds. Robbie Paul waits, gives the pass to Brad Drew. Here's the danger man. Ball on the inside to Mason. And Mason just managing to hang on. That's the last tackle, this set of 6 coming up. Adapt to the in-goal area, picked up by Robinson. He's got lots of work to do. And Robinson does it brilliantly.
Unbelievable play there by Robinson. Not the best play of the ball. Should have been penalised. He got away with it, though.
McFinnigan.
Oh, was that a flop?
One-on-one.
He was very late there with Robbie Paul joining Raleigh.
One-on-one, says referee Ben Thaler. One-on-one challenge for the ball. Knock on by Huddersfield. Salford head and feet at the scrum. And that is a relieving call from Ben Thaler.
Certainly is. That could have been penalised. Robinson did ever so well.
So John Scarndale has pulled the ball out, then it went forward, didn't it? That's the reason why now Salford will get this. But Eddie, first quarter of the game almost over. Salford's goal line defence so much better than it's been for the first half of this season. They're really giving themselves a chance to win this game by hanging on when they have to do near their own line.
Well, it's defence a la 2006, isn't it?
Certainly is. They're up for it. We knew they would get it with the adrenaline getting, but maybe after 10, 15 minutes they might just fall off, but they haven't. And they'll also be pretty confident in as much that they've had 3 clean breaks. They've been able to get through this very strong Giants defence. Not many have done that over the past 6 weeks.
Well, Kiedis bumped Robbie Paul out of the way. Here is Luke Robinson. Back it goes again. That's the last tackle, though. Salford still not outside their own half of the field. They might be here because Luke Dawn will put the kick in. It bounces and skips its way towards the sideline.
Good thinking that as well. Huddersfield, they were expecting that the ball was going to go straight away to Robinson, but it was spun out wide, and good position there by Luke Dawn, the captain today, who just dinked it right into the corner. Field position is everything. You get more confident when you've got the opposition in their own quarter, and you can set up for that very solid defence.
Trying the last win against Hull Kingston Rovers last month by Luke Robinson. Head and feet at this scrum to the Huddersfield Giants. And this is Andy Raleigh again.
Just look now after 20 minutes, they're starting to push the Huddersfield player back in the tackle. He was falling to the front from the beginning of this game. But even players like Martin Aspinall, who typically picks up 10 metres when he runs from dummy half, he's held with a 1 metre gain.
It's much better defence from Salford than we have seen recently. 166 points, 31 tries they've shipped in their last 3 games. That was probably the 3 straws that broke the camel's back as far as John Wilkinson is concerned. Here's a 40-20 attempt. I wonder whether he was inside the 40-metre mark, Brad Drew, and Ben Thaler asking the video referee just to have a check on that. But if he is inside...
Pretty close to it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's okay. Non-kicking foot is behind the 40. That's okay.
That's a great 40-20 from Brad Drew.
He's an unbelievable player. There cannot be a better rugby league player in Super League that reads the game. Brian Noble, you must be impressed with this Australian hooker.
Well, he's certainly made his impression in the house with Huddersfield this year, hasn't he?
And he produced a 40-20 last year, at the last week rather, at the Galfarm Stadium. That turned the game against the Bradford Bulls. Has he just turned the game here against Salford? Thorman having a little dash at the Salford line. This is Drew again. He finds Robbie Paul. Paul, the ball inside. And that is Darryl Griffin. Robbie Paul again directing operations. It comes back to Brad Drew. He fires the pass to Raleigh, and Salford again muscle up, but that's how close the Huddersfield Giants are to the first try of this match after 21.5 minutes. It's Robbie Paul. He stabs the ball in. He's picked up in the end by the Salford defence again. And they survive yet another raid, courtesy of Gray the Ann.
I get the impression that Robbie Paul thought perhaps he might have put himself in an offside position. But I'm sure that ball ricocheted off a Salford player.
And it was Robbie Paul that kicked it anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but he seemed to hesitate. Whether he read it wrong or not, I'm not right sure. With full credit to the Reds' defence, they're getting back there in numbers.
Stephen, come on! Stick a bit in your neck!
This is the incident there.
Robbie did back off, there's no question of that. This is Wilshire again. He gives it back to Korkidas, and Korkidas goes up the middle.
Well, that's the reason why they bought him, and I'm afraid that Korkidas have not produced that sort of running throughout this season.
Robinson was under pressure then. Not the best kick from him into Aspinwall's arms. Let's get to injury news on the sideline. It's Bill.
Eddie, we saw that clash of heads between Keith Mason and Ryan Hudson, teammates of course, and Mason off the field and having bandages applied to his head at the moment. He's got a cut, but Ryan Hudson has come off a lot worse in the dressing room at the moment, having stitches in what's described as a nasty gash.
It looked like it when he went off the field, that's for sure. Here is Thorman. Thorman thought about the short ball to Brown as he went down, held on, plays it then to Robbie Paul. It's Drew, and Drew looked for the runner. It went to ground, and Robinson is first to react for that. Coley was hunting it as well.
Spotted it well. Brad Drew was twitching in the tackle. He was looking for support. None forthcoming.
Here is Stuart Littler again, has been in the pack 6 times. Would you believe this is his 88th consecutive appearance tonight for the Salford City Reds for Stuart Littler? Incredible run of consistency. David Hodgson, 79th consecutive appearance for him. So they've been some good servants for this club, haven't they?
They certainly have, and then they need it today because... but another thing they do need, Salford have got to get good field position. They've been struggling to get that.
Can't get outside their own half much, can they, on a set of 6? They will here with the boot of Robinson. But that will skip its way dead in goal. It'll be a tap restart on the 20.
I don't even be too upset with that either. They know they didn't get a full straight line. You can see him on that 30 mark. And the way that they've been piling in that defence, where was this for the last 3 weeks? Phil Clark, it's amazing, isn't it?
Well, in the cup game, the game went very much like this. It was half an hour before we saw the first 2 tries of the game. Half-time was very close. The final quarter, Huddersfield just went ahead with it. And you'd have to imagine all of the statistics at this point in the game indicate that Huddersfield are on top, even though the scoreboard says 0-0. But the things can turn around, interception, mistake. Salford need to continue here now. The big difference with Huddersfield, they brought Crabtree, Jackson and Griffin on, and that's just really lifted them in the middle of the field.
It's Brad Drew to one of the substitutes, Earl Crabtree, a new 3-year deal signed by him this week at the Galpalm Stadium. I'm reminded that when we were at Salford earlier in the season for the game against the Catalan Dragons, that was tight as a drum. Salford led 6-0 at half-time. They went on to win the match 10-0. Their only home win of the season so far. And they get a penalty here. That Catalan Dragons victory for Salford. 1 win from 6 is their current standing at home.
Just stepped out of it, did Wild, just before he played the ball. Well spotted by Ben Thaler. Well, the standing coach, Steve Sims, will be more than pleased with the effort. But I agree with Phil, the Huddersfield side are playing the better, more constructive rugby league football. It's only really desperate defence by Salford that's keeping them out, because the play the ball area, the Giants are far superior. They're always looking to get on with the game very quickly. He's lost that.
There's Steve Sims, and alongside him Malcolm Alker. Steve Sims, the caretaker coach tonight, has been coach at Lee, Halifax and Featherstone, and in the lower grades at South Sydney. Jackson is deemed to have knocked that ball illegally out of the hand of Andy Coley.
Yeah, certainly did. I thought Coley, I apologise to him. I thought that he'd actually lost control, but that's silly play from Jackson. John Sharp will get the message out. Hey, come on, we don't work hard to keep them down in their own half for you to lose control.
Well, this is an opportunity for Salford to get over halfway. They do, just about, in the shape of Finnegan. And there is Sean McRae, watching intently on. Wonder what thoughts are going through his mind. He's been out of the game for quite some time. Of course, we will have the benefit of Sean sitting alongside us at Warrington on Monday, because that is his first booking with us. He's come across on a working holiday, I suppose you would call it, and it might turn into something more than that. Who knows? A little dab down the line, good defence on show from Thorman, but a good chase again from the Salford City Reds.
Good build-up, nice little kick into the corner, but good work from Thorman and Hannaby as well, under a lot of pressure.
Huddersfield crowd on the back of referee Ben Thaler. And Salford are continuing to frustrate the Huddersfield Giants.
Not only that, they're moving in units, 2, 3 and 4, getting into it, and that is great defence. Crabtree's got nowhere to go.
Well, this is exactly the sort of thing we saw under Carl Harrison last year. They have refound their belief. It's amazing, isn't it? Coach has to suffer the final throw of the dice for his team to find their form.
Well, it's like the sacrificial lamb, isn't it? I'd hardly call Carl Harrison a lamb, but
he called himself a cuddly bear in the build-up to the match.
I don't think I'd risk calling him a cuddly bear somehow.
He did it himself. He called himself the cuddly bear.
Well, he's not going to belt himself, is he?
Here's McGuinness. Oh, McGuinness snaps the net! McGuinness, though, is on his own. He has Robinson arriving in support. McGuinness howls on because he knows the tackle count has only reached number 2. This is an opportunity for Salford. Robinson. And Robinson, oh, the long ball, but it's knocked forward by Wild. It's back to 0 in the tackle count. Coley has picked it up, dumps the ball over the top riskily on the bounce. It finds Wilshire. Wilshire is eventually grounded by Andy Raleigh. No, it wasn't. It was Jackson. My apologies. Here's a drive forward now by Stephen Nash on his Super League debut.
Now then, what can Luke Robinson conjure up?
Jordan Turner is there. There's the drive forward. It is by the number 18, Luke Adamson. So coaches on both sides using the substitutes here early.
Watch
it's
for
with
Wilshire.
Robinson. Robinson back. It comes to Coley. Couldn't take it in. Knock on.
It was a poor pass, wasn't it?
Yeah, went behind the man. It was a set move. You could see the fullback or winger John Wilshire coming in on the angle to utilise the dummy runner. And Coley, the big fella, knows he has blown the opportunity.
Probably their best opportunity of the half.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Just goes to show how hard it is, isn't it? Luke Robinson had to put the ball in front and slide to the left of Andy Coley, where he wanted the ball, and then he could take on Drew as he liked him. Either step back on the inside, bump with the strength, or maybe even drawing the winger. Penalty conceded.
And Brown did not like that from Kevin McGuinness. Kevin Brown having a bit of a pop at the Australian centre. Andy Finnegan was as culpable as well. Kevin McGuinness try here in an 18-24 home defeat by the Giants a few years ago. That was their last win here.
Well, they put him in a good position. It was good work by McGuinness. Slipped under the net, went pretty high on him, and he scooted through, got them in the field position that they've lacked in this first half. Well, it's amazing.
To Huddersfield, and that will relieve the pressure on them for a moment. Half an hour gone, and I wonder what odds would you have got on a 0-0 scoreline after half an hour here today?
Well, we knew that the adrenaline was running. I've just posed a question to Brian Noble. Brian, John Sharp would have known that Salford would have come with adrenaline over the first 15 minutes. Do you think he'll be a bit surprised that they've kept it going?
Absolutely not. They'll be fully prepared for this. You know, they're getting the sack coach syndrome. Everybody, opposition coach, then is very, very wary of the next game for the opposition. I think what we need to be careful of is that we don't get carried away.
That was a knock-on by Paul Jackson.
It hasn't been a good day for this fella. Gave away a silly penalty for stealing the ball, and now he has failed to play the ball correctly.
The thing with Salford, Eddie, Warrington, Wakefield and Harlequins have missed more tackles than Salford this year. It's just when they've missed tackles, it's ended up being a try. And that's the thing. That's why what's so pleasing, I suppose, for the Salford fans tonight is that the goal line defence has improved. That's giving them a chance here now. In a game of rugby league, your opponents are always going to get down close to your try line with the ball. That inevitably happens, but you have to be able to withstand those moments, and Salford have done so far.
They have indeed, and although they made the playoffs last year, Salford, over the last 12 months, if you look at the records, the form has been patchy, to say the least. Since Easter of last year, Salford have played 38. Do you know they've only won 11, and yet they finished 5th in the table last season?
It's amazing, isn't it?
That was a resolute bounce out of the tackle by Luke Adamson, the 19-year-old. They have some great youngsters coming through here. That's a good kick down the line, looking for Gravian. And it's been picked up, actually, by the man who was there in support with him, which is Kevin McGuinness. It's the last tackle here for Salford. They're forward now in support. Robinson with a kick to the corner, looking for David Hodgson. And the ball is palmed over the line. It is a goal line dropout coming up.
Well, they're pinpointing that right-hand side, or the left-hand side of Huddersfield's defence. Good work from Aspinwall. He was going to be good as well. It was a great kick from Robinson. Puts him under a lot of pressure. Hodgson did that. Great stuff. That'll lift their confidence. But they're finding a little bit of a chink in this defensive line of Huddersfield out on that left-hand side. That's the way to run. That's what's been missing.
Charged onto that. Michael Korkidas called for that almost on his own 20-metre line. Really got up ahead of steam. Now they're on the opposition 20-metre line. And this is Jordan Turner, 18 years of age. Great faith, as I say, in the youngsters at Salford for the future. Robinson gets the ball away to Littler. Littler manages to offload it under pressure to Simon Finnegan. 10 metres away. 4 tackles gone, though. Turner again in the dummy half. Will come this way and find Robinson. Robinson short ball to Wilshire. Big hit by Robbie Paul. That's the last. Now it's with Littler again to Robinson. Wide it goes to Luke Dawn, and Luke Dawn gives it, and it's a try for McGuinness. Salford's try for Kevin McGuinness. It has been coming for a few minutes, and the Salford City Reds, who parted company this week with the coach, Carl Harrison, have hit the front against the form team of Super League, the Huddersfield Giants. Kevin McGuinness, he's the try scorer, and it was created by wonderful running from Robinson and Dawn.
Good interchange. The two half-backs combining exceptionally well. Notice how Dawn run across the defensive line and made the Giants hesitate. And when you get McGuinness running straight, he's having a wow of a game as the centre. He fully deserves it. He's had 2 great breaks already. The Red fans, they can't believe it. But yes, they are in front. What an effort from this guy.
30 years of age, Kevin McGuinness. He skipped over the line. And there's the illustration that shows you the distance from the goal and the target angle that the goal kicker, John Wilshere, has. It's just a 7-degree angle. So his target is pretty narrow. But John Wilshere, 8th on the Super League goal chart, as I said earlier. And he has missed it.
Don't do that again.
But Salford lead by 4 points to 0.
Great work from Lou Dawn. There you can see he's running across on the angle. Look how Nero is sucked in. As soon as he dips his head, McGuinness says, I'll take the 4. They haven't had much to shout about over the past few weeks. But boy, this guy has given them hope.
Well, if Salford can get the best out of Kevin McGuinness, they will go a long way towards surviving. It's only his 10th try for Salford in 59 games, but his record in the NRL in Australia is remarkable. 72 tries in 165 matches.
He's a quality player. Not only that, Eddie, the way that Salford are playing now, not just to convince themselves that they are not just a poor player, they're not poor players, they're not a poor team, but also, are they convincing Sean McRae to take the job? Maybe.
Well, Steve-O, you know, that might be a bit presumptive, because James Lowes is also very much in the frame, and James Lowes, the assistant coach here to Carl Harrison, he appeared to be, although Steve Sims is the caretaker coach on paper, he's got a collar and tie on. James Lowes is the man who's been out there at the coalface, and he's been the man who has been preparing the team here this week. And the kick for safety and for territory from Luke Dawn.
And that's all they have to do. They've got the 4-point lead. They've been working as a unit. They have not been giving away silly penalties. They've got good field position over the last 10 minutes. And that's probably the reason why Steve Sims made sure that Luke Dawn took control out of there. Probably the first time also this year. I don't know about you, Phil Clark. You've seen Salford play just as many times as I have. But I think the combination between Dawn and Robinson is about the best I've seen so far.
Well, they're both showing up here, aren't they, tonight? I think sometimes in rugby league, and it's such a tough sport to play, it's easier going into a match as the underdog. And for the last couple of months, Huddersfield went to so many games, being written off, underdogs. They lifted themselves, and that was that sort of atmosphere and mood within the camp. Salford come here tonight, nobody gives them a chance, and all of a sudden, Huddersfield are the clear favourites to win the game.
I just think this top dog mentality, as you're talking about, Phil, is hard to accept sometimes. Here we have a team, 8 games on the bounce, a really enthusiastic Salford team. We have an arm wrestle for the first 20 minutes. A couple of errors. Oh, here goes Brad Drew. That's the big danger. A couple of errors from the Salford team. A couple of errors the other way from the Huddersfield team. And all of a sudden they're in the frame, 4-0 up, and they'll fight tooth and nail to keep that lead now.
And the pass on the last to Kevin Brown. He puts the kick in, and Wilshere will run this ball back over his own goal line and makes about 7 or 8 metres before he is collared by Stephen Wild. They are just a minute and a half away from leading at half-time, the Salford City Reds, for the first time since April the 22nd. They led at Craven Park against Hull Kingston Rovers by 16 points to 10, and they went on to win the match by 28 points to 24. Can they hang on to this half-time lead? They have a minute and a quarter to do so. But Huddersfield are going to get another set of 6 here. There's no question of that. Because there's the last tackle, and they are 19 metres away from their own try line.
It's got to be a good kick and an exceptional chase. Oh, that's a great effort.
The kick will do it. The kick from Luke Dawn was superb, and Salford will plod to this scrum.
Sometimes in life you've got to stand up, take the responsibility and say, hey, come on, I'm a classy player. And that is exactly what this man is doing today.
Well, it took Huddersfield about 24 seconds to get 6 men in to form that scrum. That's why the referee now has held the clock up with 35 seconds remaining.
They're tired because Salford have really gave it to them.
Brad Drew, this is the danger man. And Luke Robinson knows that, so does David Hodgson. Drew will play the ball. Salford are doing their best to try and slow Brad Drew and company down here, and they are sailing pretty close to the wind. But Steve Sims in charge as a caretaker here at Salford for a second time. He was last in charge in June 2002 in between Steve McCormack and Carl Harrison. Now he's in between Carl Harrison and who knows who. It's with Drew. He gets over halfway. There's the half-time siren. This is wild. They will chase it. No, they won't, because the ball finds its way over the touchline. Hodgson knocked the ball into touch because he knows that the Salford City Reds lead at the break by 4 points to 0. But yet